World's biggest tourism fair, ITB Berlin comes to India, powering the first edition of BITB New Delhi. Hear them speak their minds. Meet them, do business, interact and network.
Of today's 2 hours essentially is going to be a small presentation on site, which I will be doing for the next couple of minutes. Post that, I will introduce our first panel to my left with Paul Miller, who's come in from the UK to present to us on the incentive in business. Subsequently, we will do the second panel, which is covering the Indian incentive industry. And that should take us to the end of the session. SITE. SITE stands for the Society for Incentive Travel Excellence. If you see the visuals that we've created for this presentation, mostly incentive travel is a very, what should I say, picturesque holiday making exercise for corporates. So what is an incentive? Travel incentives are a reward subset of an incentive program or a recognition program or a loyalty program or a business tool designed to change consumer behavior to improve profit, cash flow, employee management and customer engagement. Paul is a former president of SITE Global, is the managing director of Spectra. Paul started his career in the service industry at the Royal Household in Buckingham Palace.
What are the challenges that you see right now from your perspective as I would say, a buyer directly of incentive travel, whether you're taking people around the world and giving them an amazing experience? What are you seeing globally, if you like, because you're touching all various countries, taking people away? Are they coping with India traveling? Are they giving you what you need?
Hi, good afternoon. Am I audible? Okay. Well, I try to understand what your question was, but probably given the forum, I would say that reward and recognition and incentive, and travel incentive in particular, is an integral part of any organization, rather like my business and across businesses today. The fact that historically or traditionally, when we started with travel as an incentive, and when I talk about travel as an incentive, I'm referring to from being a provider, because we do travel incentives for our travel trade channel partners, right? It's not for the employees. Let me just clarify. So initially when we started, and given the fact that this is historically being done, was very aspirational. It was like something that they had never experienced before. Today, it has turned out to be at a stage where it is merely a satisfier. The need is for us to actually shift gears, to evolve, to renew this entire thing, to make it a delighter. And when I say this, it is not going to come because it is not a standard operating process that was written down in the books, which has got to be followed for years across the organization. People come and go, right? And for me, I've been doing this for over 2 decades now, and what I've learned and what I've experienced is, for my organization, right, we've got a traditional, or it's got the second and the third generation of channel partners. So when I see the current crop who's going to be taking over, which is the millennials and the Y generation, what they expect and what they perceive is very different. So asking the agents to probably just give me those set itineraries today to provide for or to budget them in my schemes doesn't work anymore, right? The landscape of MICE has changed completely. The economies, the people, the perceptions, the expectations, the policies, geographies, and the best of it all is the consumer himself. Because given the fast changing fundamental drivers, it is the consumer today who's well traveled, well read, and he knows what he wants. So for me to just sell him something is not going to be easy, and that is my biggest challenge. And of course, the selection for a destination that is unique and not run of the mill, and of course, the selection of the vendors. Who's got that differentiation? Who can give me the best? And this just is across the cost or pricing parameter.
Thank you, thank you. Vikas, maybe we could go to you at this stage. Maybe we could go to you at this stage, because you come at this from a very different angle based on your HR responsibilities. So how does it affect you when you're engaging with your people?
Sure. Thanks, Paul. It's a very interesting topic for a human resource manager, because the primary task of a human resource manager is to get people on board and to make them perform. Performance is a very important criteria. So the work starts actually, more than employee engagement, starts from the top line to bottom line. And a very critical task, how do I work with an incentive plan which fits into my top line and also secures my bottom line, right? So when I sit with my CEO, I should be able to convince him for a trip or an incentive trip like this. So clearly with this challenge in mind, we would work with a self-funding model. That's what we work on, and we work above our top line. We do build a business plan above a target above business plan which self-funds this model. So we would ensure that people achieve and overachieve their targets, and then that funds the trips. That's the biggest challenge today for an HR manager, because I need to work on top lines and bottom lines along with the business leaders. More than that, I think the second challenge is when I go for an incentive, it should accommodate a lot of team building. People should feel for each other. People should be with each other. They should feel excited about it. So create so much of excitement in that incentive so that they are motivated to overachieve that. Now, I did speak about cash incentives, and being an American company, we believe more in dollars. And I understood that cash is not the reward that really, tracks people towards overachieving. So there has to be something more exciting which makes people to track towards that overachievement. So these are the few challenges that I see as an HR manager.
Thank you. That's really helpful. I think you did touch on a good point. It's self-funding. I think that the whole point of an incentive travel program is that all CAOs are going to say, how much is it going to cost me? But with your return and a good plan together, it shouldn't cost you anything. In fact, it will increase profits. And that's a message that we put through globally. So Mukesh, you come at this from a different angle too, in some respects. We all are in the mix together. But Mukesh puts the dream, makes the dream come true, and gets into some of these corporate clients to convince them to, number one, run an incentive, and also from a delivery side of thing that will make their trip unbelievably forgettable. So maybe you can explain a little bit about that.
Well, I've been 15 years into this now, and every 5 years down the line, as everything changes, the incentive has also changed quite a bit. From a time where just picking up a destination used to be the end of incentive trip planning, we have moved to a place, moved to a time today where experiences are more experiential. It's not just about sitting and having dinners and cruise dinners and having an R&R night with, Daler Mehndi or Mika performing. This is given. It's a given in all incentives. Stage, light, sound part of it is just a given. So what are we doing in terms of experience today which touches the person one-to-one? With a lot of millennials there, and especially with India-specific market, a lot of incentive is about, gratification and has to have a lot of show-off value. So if you can click and post it, if you can create moments in your incentive, which the people can click and post and upload on Instagram or on Facebook straight away, that's the incentive which will, kind of connect with people. So as incentive managers, we start to look at the end users, not the company which is organizing, as end users, as the consumers. Now these are the people who are getting experiences at all moments today in the market, while shopping, while watching a movie, while going to a restaurant. It's not about eating food or watching movie anymore. It's a complete experience. So we need to move from the traditional model of just picking up a location, taking a bus or a flight, getting 3 dinners and 3 lunches, and a maybe gala dinner at night. The standard SOPs which we create, the RFPs which we get are standardized. You need to fill and add color there. Incentive, I believe, is more of an art. It's not a mathematical science. As an incentive manager, I get a canvas, and that location is just a canvas. Be it Bangkok, Dubai or Vegas, it's a canvas. It's my job to give it a color and create a painting which remains with people 10 years down the line. If I have done that, I have created a moment. If I haven't been able to do that, I might call myself an incentive manager, but I'm just a regular tour operator.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much for listening, and we'll go on to our next session.
Thank you, Paul. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank Mr. Paul Miller, Vikas Khokha, Neena Kaul, and Mukesh Makijani for an extremely interesting presentation. The second panel is going to cover the subject of increasing profits through a robust incentive travel program. I'd like to invite Ms. Ratna Chadda, Chief Executive, Tirun Travel Marketing, Mr. Ranganathan Parthiban, Director, Swagatam Tours, Mr. Sanjeev Joshi, Managing Director of Time, Mr. Naveen Rizvi, Executive Director, Pacific World, Mr. Nitin Sachdeva, Managing Director of Venture Marketing, Mr. Saurabh Bhargav, Assistant Vice President Sales of the Taj Group of Hotels, and Mr. Vikas Sudha, Managing Director, We Do It For You Event Management. First question to the panel. In your experience and knowledge, has incentive travel got the right kind of attention in the Indian corporate context? You can elaborate in terms of inbound incentives to India from overseas and or with regards to Indian corporates traveling within or overseas to reward high achievers, dealers, etc. We'll start, of course, with Ms. Chadda.
Naveen Rizvi. I'm looking after Pacific World. We operate in 35 countries, the entire MICE business. So we have experience of doing inbound, outbound, domestic, all forms of MICE businesses. With regard to the question asked by my friend, the inbound incentive business hasn't grown the way it should have been grown in over the years. The challenges, most of the challenges are known to all of us. As far as outbound incentive is concerned, it is growing at a rapid pace. Over the last few years, the business has grown tremendously. What we experience is, since we operate from 9 locations within India, the business to overseas destination is growing every year. The clients are asking for unique ideas and experiences. The fresh ideas are something which is required. Like my fellow panelists in the earlier session has mentioned, it is all about the new products. It's all about new ideas. Because just traveling to a destination is not the key thing which was many years back. Interestingly, a lot of people are entering into this business. A lot of clients, like even those who are the small entrepreneurs, are getting into incentive business. It is not limited to the multinationals for the sake or the large corporations. Even interestingly, even the dealers and the sub-dealers are also conducting the incentive programs for their region and for their territories. So it's not only from the main corporate business, which is from the main corporate house, even it is going down to the sub-dealers and further to the territories, which shows a tremendous rise into the business. And people are traveling from Canada to New Zealand. They are asking for the new destinations, exotic locations with fresh ideas. The key is the fresh idea and the new experiences.
Hi, my name is Parthiban from Swagatam, an inbound tour operator. Well, as an inbound tour operator, we do have a lot of potential as far as India is concerned, though a lot of things need to be improved and recognized by the government and also by various partners in the industry. Irrespective of the fact that India can offer, is already in a position to offer class hotels, world-class monuments and such a fantastic hospitality, we are not able to act together because of the roadblocks, whether it is in terms of permit or whether in terms of the cost-effective reach as far as airlines are concerned. But still, we still need to change our focus from the completely cultural destination to also incentive destination, because the incentive people, they don't come here only for visiting the places but also for experiencing. So slowly things are changing, but I'm sure things will improve with more focus in the international media about incentive as an Indian destination.
Put the various facets together. I would say that the Indian corporates so far have not really given this a thought, and we need to do a lot more because there are challenges, there is unawareness to a certain level, and I think as service providers we probably need to work with the corporates who sometimes are very elusive. You're talking to the wrong guy for the right thing, and in India it happens a lot. So we need to change all of that, and if the corporates are interested, then they need to really get to the service providers and get to the various options that are available, because there's a whole new world out there.
I'm Sanjeev Joshi. I'm from Time. My experience with the incentive market in India is the Indian market, especially from outside to India, is not growing. Simple reason is we are not investing. The government of India and private industry, we are not investing. Without investing, you cannot get your rewards. And moreover, all our businesses are dependent on mainly the Europe. And Europe, when they go into recession, the tourism industry suffers very badly. The reason is we are putting all our eggs in one area. So there where we suffer. As per Indian corporates are concerned, they prefer destination out of India. Within India, they opt less. Because first, even if you take an incentive from Delhi to Kerala, it is more expensive if they go to Sri Lanka or they go to Thailand. So obviously the experience is better when they go abroad. The people who are traveling on incentive, they feel more rewarded, because incentive is only related to rewards and people feel rejuvenated when they come back. So any company who is investing wants to invest in an area where the client will feel rewarded. India as a destination suffers because we are not really exposing ourselves in a proper way abroad. And second more negative aspect is the airfares, especially from Europe and America to India. Other destinations are cheaper. Despite they are our neighbors, their airfares are cheaper compared to India. Indian airfares are very high because of it's always full with NRIs, and the airlines, they don't need any other additional business.
Hi, I'm Nitin Sachdeva from Venture Marketing. I'm talking on behalf of the Convention Bureau in the destination perspective. Incentive travel from India outbound, there's a figure says 2/3 of all the incentives are happening overseas. They're not happening in India. So which is a very, very positive figure. However, working on newer experiences, as the corporate mentioned in the last session, I think they need to come of age in terms of more lead period. That has to be.
I think if we get some more support from hotels and infrastructure from the government side, this tourism can really grow by leaps and bounds. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Saurabh Bhargav and from the hotels, and I have a little divergent view from what my friend Vikas was saying. I think in the context of in the Indian industry and incentives, Indian corporates have not given it the right place that it deserves under the sun. So far, there are very few clients like Nina or Goodyear who have that attitude that we have to do this every year. Most corporate houses, the year you have a bad year, the first cut is travel, incentives, conferences. While contrary what the West does, when the business chips are down, they invest more in their people and they give more experiences. So personally what we've seen in our business, that the Indian corporate houses have not given it enough attention. There is a lot more that we can do I think we need to still build on it, but there is a huge potential. It has started, the process has started, but there is a long way we need to go to get to actually achieve the potential of this business.
The second question really is really an adjunct of the first, and many of you have answered it, but in case you want to add any elements, what are the challenges that you face in your endeavors, for example, Ms. Chadda, when you try and position your product, which is a cruise line, and it's a new industry in the country, to corporations or even associations who can do this for you?
The challenges are huge because, again, as I said, the concept is fairly new and unknown in the marketplace. It could be due to unawareness. People think that a cruise ship, you get closeted and you're in a enclosed environment with nothing to do. If they haven't cruised, the decision makers especially, if they're not experienced have had the experience, it's very difficult for them to understand. And remember that the decision maker is taking the decision for hundreds of people. So everything really rests on that one individual, and if he hasn't had the exposure, then we are the ones as service providers who get shafted. Because the cruise ship actually, I mean, if I begin to even tell you the kind of activities and the kind of stuff that we do on board to bring in the wow, it's difficult for even a resort or a hotel to do so. The simple thing is because we have the ability to move from one destination to the other with ease. So really, the value that the corporate or the customer gets is far in excess of what he would get on land. And then there are things like misconceptions that a cruise is a luxury experience, so it must be expensive. There's seasickness that can evolve. So people who are far away from, let's say, the sea, and especially in North India, it's difficult for us to even tell them that today's ships are not passage liners, they are passenger liners. And there's a lot of difference between the two. It's not the Titanic era anymore. So these are the challenges that we face.
No, as far as challenges for the inbound tours, the biggest challenge is the connectivity, comfortable connectivity, which is affordable to the European tourist. Number one. Number two is the permitage. For example, when we saw the presentation by Paul, we saw that the experiencing of having dinner at backdrop of the beautiful museum, beautiful monuments, but unfortunately not a single monument in India, in spite of the fact that we have world-class monuments, is allowed to have a backdrop for a dinner, which could be a fantastic experience for the people. They don't see, you can have dinner anywhere. The food is served anywhere, but having a backdrop of a monument is definitely a great experience. Number three, entertainment is a big problem. Any big cities, you cannot have even a music more than 10 p.m. in the hotels. And not only even that, you have to pay through nose for each and every permit, whether it is to serve the alcohol other than the restaurants, all these things. So need to improve. And the thing is, we say that we have open door policy and everything, but when we come to organizing, the reality and the talks are so wide. So definitely the roadblocks are there. I'm sure with the way things are going with the e-visa and everything like that, things can improve. We need to persistently inform the tourism department and the media also to focus India as an incentive destination, not only as a cultural destination.
So thank you so much.
I'd like to thank the members of the panel for giving us their time and coming, especially Paul for coming from UK. Please give him a rousing welcome.
World's biggest tourism fair, ITB Berlin comes to India, powering the first edition of BITB New Delhi. Hear them speak their minds. Meet them, do business, interact and network.